Kalene is an intelligence-based mage class hero from the Graveborn faction who specializes in dealing damage and controlling her enemies. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at her skills and abilities, her teams and uses, and whether or not it's worth investing in this hero. So let's get into it. Her ultimate ability is Blood Ritual. This kicks off with a passive, where at the start of the battle, she's going to mark the enemy with the lowest defense as a blood sacrifice. And if they die, she will choose another blood sacrifice. Now, when this ability is actively used, she will place a blood altar under the sacrifice's feet. This is going to silence all enemies that are within it. And after 3 seconds, when the blood ritual is complete, it will deal AoE damage. And if the blood sacrifice survives this damage, then all enemies within it will also be dealt 6% of the blood sacrifice's max health in damage. Next up, we have Necrohound. For this one, whenever an enemy gets close to Kalene, she'll command her Necrohound to attack them, dealing damage, knocking them back, and also stunning them. Then we have Ephemeral Spirits. This ability has a passive side and active side. For the passive, each time a new blood sacrifice is chosen, her Necrohound will create an ephemeral spirit. Now, these will attack enemies and 30% of the damage dealt is converted into health for Kalene. However, if they are attacking a blood sacrifice, 100% of the damage dealt will be converted into health. When the ability is actively used, these spirits will charge the enemy furthest away from themselves on the battlefield, dealing damage and also terrifying the enemies. And then we have Eternal Lifeblood, another ability with a passive and active portion. For this one, at the start of battle, she's going to increase her own maximum health by up to 60%. However, she will continuously lose 2% of her max health every second. When the ability is actively used, she will continuously cast spells on the blood sacrifices for 4 seconds, dealing damage every second, but cannot result in their death. While torturing the victim though, damage she receives is reduced, and if she successfully tortures the victim for the full 4 seconds, she recovers 50% of her max health. Next up is her signature item skill, Blood Feast. For this one, she is going to gain health recovery whenever she is torturing a victim. On top of that, she's immune to control effects while torturing her blood sacrifice. And on top of that, at level 30, while torturing the blood sacrifice, if they are a boss, they will additionally lose health equal to 125% of Kalene's attack rating every second. However, if the blood sacrifice is not a boss, Kalene will immediately butcher them when their health falls below 10%. And finally, we have her furniture ability, Blood of the Many. At level 3, this one is going to cause her ultimate skills altar to deal AoE damage to enemies inside it every second. On top of that, at level 9, when the current blood sacrifice's health falls below 50%, or if they have survived more than 6 seconds, she will choose another blood sacrifice so that there are up to 2 blood sacrifices on the battlefield. Due to Kalene's abilities that can increase her maximum health, restore her own health, and mitigate the damage that she receives, she can sometimes be used in the front row in certain compositions, but she can't last against heavy hitting enemies, so she will normally find comfort in the back row in teams. And for this video, we're going to show her in a team utilizing a fairly common Graveborn strategy where she can substitute into this team quite nicely, and that is going to be an Ulna Grizzle team. And this team will consist of Ulna, Grizzle, Odin, Silas, and Kalene. This team has very high mitigation and healing, large amounts of damage with 3 damage dealers on the team, and is just incredibly reliable. So in this team we have Ulna. Ulna is there for her 9 furniture, which is going to protect Grizzle in the front row. Grizzle is there to spam as many of his skeletons onto the field, distract the enemies, and deal large amounts of damage. However, due to him being a little bit squishy, the Ulna is great for protecting him. Then in the back row, we have Odin. Odin can deal massive amounts of damage, but also has a large amount of energy manipulation, also control with stuns from when he portals enemies around. Then we have Silas. Silas is the dedicated healer in this team. He can heal his allies really effectively. He also has an ultimate which can give someone immunity to death in a hard situation. Then finally, we have Kalene added into this team. She synergizes really well with it because she brings control and also that damage. Plus, she's very self-sustaining, meaning that normally Silas isn't going to have to use his ultimate on her, so he can use it on another ally that may be a little bit lower and in need of the help. She's going to deal massive damage when she gets around to her ultimate, also has the stunning from her hounds, and also the silencing effect from her ultimate ability. And when she has 2 blood sacrifices on the field, if they're close to each other, it will just amplify that damage enemies are taking. However, if the blood sacrifices are separated, it broadens the range on where she can actually silence enemies. So she fits in really well into this team. As for artifacts on Kalene, if you're using her in the front row, the Winged Warden could be used to gain some energy regeneration. Her main issue is that she does generate energy very slowly. So aside from that, if you're using her in the back row, something like the Windbinder can be really nice to get her faster access to her first ultimate, or something like Dru's Call to continuously increase her energy. So with all that out of the way, how far do we want to invest into Kalene? For her signature item, 20 is going to be the sweet spot. There's other heroes that you would prefer to get to 30 signature item before her. However, getting her to 20 and making her immune to control effects while torturing the blood sacrifice is going to be really helpful for proccing her extra conditions to be able to heal herself from that ability. As for her furniture, this one ideally you would like to take to level 9. Having 2 blood sacrifices on the field can either amplify her damage or spread out her silencing effect, which can be really helpful. And as for engravings, 30 is going to be the sweet spot for this one. 60 would be nice, but it's not essential. 30 is going to increase the duration of her Terrify to 4 seconds, which if her hounds are spread out and they can attack different enemies and get that longer duration Terrify on different enemies, it's going to be very beneficial. So that is going to be it for Kalene, a self-sufficient Graveborn mage who can deal massive damage, have high control, self-heal, and mitigate damage. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.